Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Change. Today's videos we're gonna learn about 5 bad habits that can damage your brain. Make sure watch the video until the end because every one of the point definitely important for you to know how this habit will affect your brain performance and how to get rid of these bad habits immediately. Now let's begin. Number 1. Skipping breakfast. During a busy morning, it's easy to let breakfast follow in your list of priorities. Some of you are trying to cut calories, some of you are too busy during the morning rush, and some others says they just don't feel hungry. According to the researchers, most of the people are breakfast skippers, or you may not eat breakfast on time. If you're a person who don't care about your breakfast, don't you know the bad effect of skipping breakfast to your brain? Skipping a single meal causes a variation in your sugar levels. Sugar, the primary fuel that your body runs on, takes a dramatic nocive that affects the functioning of every organ, including the brain. The brain runs primarily on glucose, and lack of enough sugar in blood will affect your ability to think, concentrate, and memorize. You become moody and irritable. Otherwise, some studies shows that men who skip breakfast had a 27% greater risk of heart attack or heart disease. Another research found that children who do not eat breakfast at home or at school were less to learn. Hunger can lead to lower math scores, attention problems, and behavior, emotional and academic problems. So, why your breakfast is important? Breakfast provides the body and brain with fuel after an overnight fast. That's where its name originates. Breaking the fast. Without breakfast, you are effectively running on empty. Like try to start the car with no petrol. So make sure your breakfast should be eaten within 2 hours of waking. Your breakfast is important. Number 2. Covering your head during sleep. Actually, what is your sleeping posture? Our sleeping posture is a topic that need to be discussed separately because posture can be classified into suitable and unsuitable for sleep. I will discuss it in a separate video soon. Some people have the habit of covering the head while sleeping. Covering your head while sleeping can contribute to brain damage. That's why when we sleep covering our head, we reduce the amount of oxygen earning our body. Just because we have to breathe in already recycled air which is structured with carbon dioxide. This creates a lack of oxygen for our brain. In some research found that 23% of people who sleep with their head under the covers develop dementia. So dementia is a term that refers to decline in mental ability serving enough to interferes with daily life. Otherwise, Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia and millions of people are affected by it. The reason why people who cover their head while sleeping are at a higher risk of dementia is restricted airflow through mouth and nose. That way, you are not getting enough fresh air that your brain needs to function properly. When it happens over a long period of time, it could lead to these unwanted consequences. If you have the habit of covering your head during sleep, break that habit immediately to protect your brain. Number 3. Mobile phone. You may think, is your mobile phone damaging your brain? If yes, then how? Actually, what do we know about the health risks of mobile phones? We all know about the harmful waves emitted by mobile phones. Mobile phones release radio frequency energy or radio waves. When we use mobile phones, there's the possibility that can be observed by bodily tissues. So researchers found that 80% absorbed radiation comes from holding the phones to the head. Brain memory function was more vulnerable to the negative impact of radiation when the phone was held to the right hand side of the head. That's where the areas of the brain related to memory are located. That is why mobile phone radiation could have a negative effect on the development of memory performance. Otherwise, addiction to the mobile phones negatively affects social interactions, mental health, and certain brain tumors. So what can we do? If you are worried about radiation effects on your brain, then you can use loudspeakers or headphones. In some situations, it's difficult to use it, then you can hold your phone in left side of the head. Number 4. Dehydration. In my previous video, we clearly learned about how dehydration affects your learning process. This time, we're gonna learn about how dehydration affects your brain. The adult human body contains around 70% of water. All the cells in the body, including our brain cells, depend on the water to carry out essential functions. Therefore, if water levels are too low, our brain cells cannot function properly, leading to cognitive problems. By the time you feel thirsty, your body is already dehydrated. Our thirst mechanism lags behind our actual level of hydration. Researchers shows that as little as 1% dehydration negatively affects your mood, attention, memory and motor coordination. Data in humans is lacking and contradictory, but it appears that brain tissues fluid decrease with dehydration, thus reducing brain volume and temporarily affecting cell functions. Otherwise, as you lose body water without replacing it, your blood becomes more concentrated, and at a point, this triggers your kidneys to retain water. The result, you urinate less. If you are a person who drinks less water per day, make it a habit of drink plenty of water per day. Remind to drink 7 to 8 liters per day. It will help you function in your brain properly. Number 5. Not getting enough sleep. You may notice that after a sleepless night, you likely feel sluggish in the next morning. We do a lot of things during the day. Maybe your brain is engaged in exhausting work all day. After a busy day, your brain needs a rest. If you don't give it, your brain cell will tire. That's why you feel sluggish in the next morning. On the other hand, sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation is caused by consistent lack of sleep or reduced quality of sleep. Getting less than 7 hours of sleep on a regular basis can eventually lead to health consequences that affect your entire body. In one studies found that sleep deprivation makes it difficult for brain cells to communicate effectively, which in turn can lead to temporary mental lapses that affect memory and visual perceptions. Sleep deprivation also negatively affects your mental abilities and emotional state. You may feel more impatient or prone to mood swings. It can also compromise decision-making process and creativity. Here's the solution. Getting an adequate amount of sleep, normally 7 to 8 hours each night. That is the most basic form of treatment for sleep deprivation. That's all about today's videos, but we have to discuss about many other bad habits that you may not be aware of that can damage your brain. In another videos, I'll discuss more habits that damage your brain. So if you have one of these habits, make sure to break them immediately and minimize the impact on your brain. So thank you for watching. Stay with the channel because more incredible content is on the way.